Woke up this morning, like where do I go? Skip breakfast.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Hope you guys are well. I had to wear this hat because I scratched my head, so I couldn't cut my hair, But all that aside, yeah, I just wanted to show my appreciation. I think this channel's been doing better than I thought it was gonna be doing. I mean, of course, you set your goals, but it's actually doing pretty good, and the whole you should give back kind of thing. So I wanted to make a video about something that might actually help somebody. And I've made my videos about like stories and stuff, and I don't really know if that's specifically helping anybody, but this is something that anyone could do. And so something that changed my life. And if you already read the title, yeah, hugs, right? Who would have thought? But it's I grew up around a really, kind of more tough environment, right? Street stuff, all this and that. And even at the time I grew up, right, it was there was a lot of pride in being a man, right? There was a lot of I'll be honest, so hopefully nobody gets all offended about this, but like the term is toxic masculinity. To me, that's like one of the dumbest phrases, because they made it to where you can't be proud of being a man, right? Which is it's biology, right? Like science, right? So it's like where people became to that point where they feel they have more of a right than nature does, right? So it became something to where they didn't understand, everything has its purpose, right? So I don't want to get too into that, but let's just say it was, it was part of the culture too, right? To have that pride in, and it was good too, because see, where I grew up, it was like, I saw a lot, but when I grew up, like you saw like really hardcore gangbangers and this kind of that, right? So the thing about them, though, it wasn't the lower level, like, people trying to just get some kind of street cred or do stupid stuff like that. It was like what people consider OGs, that it's like they respect you, so you respect them. They didn't say, hey, fool, or hey, this. Like, they called you. It was none of even those kind of talk. So I remember when people first even started using that kind of language around me, like, hey, dick, not dick, or hey, fool, I was like ready to fight. Like, would you just call me, kind of thing? So I grew up I'm just trying to give you some perspective about, like, I'll get into the hug stuff, right? But I want to give you some perspective into how much of like that kind of culture, to show you the transition, right? So it was like, in the military, of course, you don't go around, hugging people in the Marines or stuff like that, right? It wasn't really like, so I've never really had been around that. And then in college, I want to call it like once I decided to finish and get my associates, I was already older. And so, I had this class that my professor was Native American, right? So, after, like, I joined she also had like, or she was in charge of, like the students were in charge, but she was in charge of like or they would have it in her class, the Native American club, right? At school. So I joined the Native American club at school. And then, people always ask me, are you Native American? Yes, of course. Anyone, that's, anyone that's from these lands, right? Our ancestry is Native, right? It's unfortunate that people don't understand their own heritage. I hate having to keep going into these different side stories, but just so you could understand, like I've even had to check like Native people, because even Native Americans from up here, right, from the north, that didn't understand some, like, you see the Aztec dancers and this and that, but it's like, if we're not walking around in all this native gear, people don't correlate the two, right? They, like, what do you think that is? It's people just like me, but I'm not walking around in the whole regalia and all this and that, right? Because I'm not, like everyone's not dancing all the time or doing all or ceremony or stuff like that, right? So for people like myself that are aware of their heritage, and roots, we know what we are, right? So just to that, like I've always had that connection, right? So anyway, so once I saw that at school and my professor, I joined the club, and then after that, everyone hugged there. Like even my professor, like would give me a hug, and now at first it was kind of weird, I felt weird by it, like, but I wasn't gonna push them away, like, hey, what the hell are you doing, So everyone was really, and in that way, like in Native culture, you when you hug, you're putting heart to heart, so it makes you more compassionate. It changed me, and I noticed it, and I think once I was telling my professor about that, because even that right after, I started going to sweat ceremonies at my professor's house. She had a ranch, and so and then I got in, contact with more Native people, and not just Native people. It was very welcoming. It was a very welcoming place. So there were people that had embraced the Native culture, all Asian, white, black, all across the board, right? So it was a very open space for a lot of that, right? Like, so it made me a more compassionate person. I was someone that grew up very not no hugs, like you don't touch me, you give me my 5 feet. It's funny because back then we used to say that before all this pandemic stuff. Hey, give me my 5 feet, like when someone got too close, you were like, hey, give me my 5 feet, like don't be all up in my space, or that was like, a reason to fight, really. Like you didn't cross people's boundaries. So it's funny, that's how much of that culture, like, I grew up in, that it was like that. And it's funny, like with the whole pandemic thing, it was like 6 feet, right? I almost felt like, just a little side note, I almost felt like all that was karma, right? All the time that people spend, like the way society became very like, don't touch me, don't this, don't that, like that was everyone's karma. All right, you guys want to be pricks, like boom, now nobody can touch each other. Now everybody has to be distant, right? Like the universal law of karma, right? So, with all that said, so, I was telling the professor once, like, I noticed the change in myself. Like, everything changed to where even I would hug people sometimes. I would see they would be weirded out, just like I was once upon a time, because it became so second nature. Like, that's how we always greeted each other, like, around everybody that was into like the Native culture, right? We all would hug each other. It just was so second nature. And then one day too, I was talking with my professor, and she's like, well, they say at least 8 hugs a day. Like humans need at least 8 hugs a day. I was like, what, really? And that's funny because, I noticed the change. I noticed I felt better about it. And so I wanted to read these real quick. I'm not going to read the whole paragraph, but you could look it up for yourself. And I just want to read like the main points. It says, like, number 1, it says hugs reduce stress by showing your support. So, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Someone's going through something, you hug them, like, hey, everything all right? And it just makes them feel like that, right? Like, if you hug a tree, I know, like, they use that thing, tree huggers, this and that, but literally, right? You see like a sturdy tree, and then it supports you more than the tree, but that's kind of like how you could think about it. When you hug someone else, you're being that tree for them, right? You're showing them that support, and they feel it, like, psychologically and emotionally, right? Another thing, hugs may protect you against illness. Let me read a little bit about that. So, hugging may reduce the chance of a person will get sick. The participants of this study, with the greatest support, were less likely to get sick. So they actually did a whole study about that, right? So number 3 is hugs may boost your heart health. So I guess they did a whole thing about, romantic partners hold hand for 10 minutes, followed by a 20-second hug with each other. The group had romantic partners who sat in silence for 10 minutes and 20 seconds. People in the first group showed greater reductions in blood pressure levels and heart rate than the second group. So the ones that hugged and everything, they showed were their body reacted, right, better than the ones that didn't get hugs. Hugs can make you happier. We know that it says they call it the cuddle hormone, I guess, but they say the the oxytocin is associated with happiness and less stress, so it releases all that, right? Um, so the oxytocin comes out, when you're hugging and all that good stuff. Hugs help reduce your fears. So it's a scientist that found that touch can reduce anxiety in people with low self-esteem. Touch also, it keeps people from isolating themselves when reminded of their mortality. So, um, let me just, because then it's gonna take me forever. Hugs may help reduce your pain. So, yeah, I kind of want to read the whole thing, but I know it'll take forever. Number 7 is hugs help you communicate with other. So, like they say, like sometimes you don't even need words, right? Like actions speak louder than words. So that's how hugs work, and it says how many hugs do we need? So we need 4 hugs a day for survival. Like I said, I didn't grow up like that, so I didn't even get that, but you survive, right? I think this is what's recommended, but unfortunately we become callous, right? So we humans will find a way to survive anyways, but they say that, right? Like 4 hugs a day for survival, 8 hugs a day for a good way of being, which is what I probably was getting, when I was around like all the native stuff, which kind of got slowed down during the whole pandemic thing, and I felt the difference, right? Like you could tell, like you need it, right? 12 hugs a day for growth. While that may sound like a lot of hugs, it seems that many hugs are better than not enough, right? So too many hugs are better than not enough. So yeah, so I guess it just has those 8 points or 7. I think it was 7. Yeah. So it just has those 7 points. But I'll tell you what, it's funny, like there's even 3 hugs that stick in my brain for some reason. And I think it's because at that time I was going through something, but I didn't speak about it, right? I guess that's when I wasn't talking about it. And I remember, I had this little bucket, and I just needed to take a drive, right? And I remember I drove a few cities away just because I just wanted to take a drive. And I stopped at a 7-Eleven, and there was a lady dressed in the Santa outfit, like the whole, I don't know if it was Salvation Army or something, but I put some money in her thing. I don't even think she saw how much, because I think I had it folded. I think I put like $5, and I think I had it folded, so I don't even think she saw how much I put. But I put the money in, and she just jumps out of her seat, in front of the 7-Eleven. She gives me the biggest hug, and I was like, gulp. Like I remember that because I was going through something, but I didn't say it. And I remember this lady in her damn Santa outfit and this was like, probably 15 years ago, and I still remember it. You know what I mean? Because it was I needed that, and you couldn't. I guess I wasn't around people that were showing me that, right? Or I didn't know how to ask for it either, as well, right? So I remember that one. I remember with this girl once that I was talking to, and we didn't even end up hooking up, but we met up once. That's it, just one time. And I meet her, and she just gives me this. Or when we were saying bye, right? We're kicking and talking and everything. Then I think she had to go to work, so I was taking off, and she gives me the biggest freaking hug. And she was like, a beautiful, beautiful girl, but she was real short, like I don't know, maybe like 5 something, like 5 foot, maybe 5'1", something like that. And she just gives me like the biggest freaking hug, like it's almost like how are you that strong? Like this, like really attractive, girl, but she was really like petite, right? Even her body and everything. And so she just gives me this huge hug, and I was just like, but I was like, the same. I went like I felt it, and it felt good. And so it stuck in my head, and then that was it. Like we never ended up doing nothing, but it was just a strange, because I guess that's what it was like. Why would a stranger even hug you like that, right? Like it was strange to me to for a stranger to show you like that kind of affection, right? So that stayed with me, right? And then there was another female that I met, and then I probably just hung out with her for like 2 days. But even that, I remember this hug she gave me that stayed with me. Not that all the other hugs didn't matter, but I guess because it's people that didn't really know you. I think the other one was at a time, like I had been dealing with a female for over a year, that one hug from that one girl, that one time I saw her it felt more real than anything that I had felt with that girl that I had been dealing with for over a year. So it's funny that you could be around people that don't make you feel that. You know what I'm saying? So, and those little moments kind of just make you feel good, right? So it was pretty crazy. You know, I'm just sharing that because I know a lot of people don't, because like I said, I became that, right? To where I'll hug people, and who knows, maybe at that moment they actually feel good about it. You know, they don't say nothing, but who knows? Maybe you know, because people usually smile, like either whether it's weirded out, but they smile because it's like, I guess they didn't expect to get a hug, right? I know right now it sucks. Everyone's supposed to stay away from each other, but hopefully after all this is over and everyone feels more comfortable, you know, when you have the opportunity to hug somebody, you don't let it go. If you're already around people that family members, you know, that you were quarantined together, all this, and you guys are already comfortable, everyone's good. You know, yeah, hopefully you don't let the time pass and, you know, you at least get those 8 hugs in a day. You know, so hopefully this video helps somebody. Like I said, I just wanted to give something back. I feel like, you know, thankful that this channel's doing better than I thought it was. Really, like I said, it was the goal, but, you know, like when you see things, you know, moving forward, you're very appreciative. So I just wanted to give something that maybe might help somebody. I know it changed my life. Like I said, it made me just having those interactions with people, you know, like it's part of Native culture, right? Like heart to heart, you know what I mean? When you embrace somebody, you know, I think that's why they've always done it like that, right? It's not just like, hey, give me a pound or something like that. I mean, I think it became like that, you know, during this whole thing, but it made me a more compassionate person. It opened me up. It changed me, for real. It really did change me. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys. And yeah, you know, if you guys enjoyed it, then what, you know, subscribe. I was gonna say whatever, but yeah, go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. If you feel someone might benefit from hearing this, go ahead and share it with them. And that's it. Yeah, thanks again for watching. Peace.
I woke up this morning, like, where do I go? Skip breakfast and yawning. I was out there though. I'm trying to find some peace where there's no peace. I'm trying to find release out in these streets. I'm trying to find a little bit of happiness before I go. I'm trying to write the next great song. Yeah, the next great song. I'm at this